What's going on, guys? I'm Bill and welcome to Bill's How To. So today I'm going to show you guys how to remove and re-grout all these dirty grout lines. Now initially this looks like it's just dirty and you need to scrub it. That's not actually the case. What's happening here, all these vertical and horizontal lines all around the shower are looking really dirty. So as you can tell, they look like they're dirty all the way around. That's not actually the case. If we have a look a little bit closer, we can see here, if I try and get a good angle once this decides to focus, you can see there, this is the existing grout line that's still intact. However, as we come down a little bit further, that's all starting to crumble and break away. So I'll wait for this to focus once we get a bit closer. There we go. So what you can see here is we've got the white glazed tile, which is nice and clean. And then as you can see there, the grout is actually starting to deteriorate. So that's all starting to fall out, and you can actually see the brown, which is the inside of the tile. It's got almost a porcelain color to it. And that's what's causing it to look really dirty. So as we go along all the way down, that's actually what's happening. It's crumbling, it's failing. We need to get this sorted, and the only way to do this is to simply remove all this grout and re-grout it. So today I'm going to show you guys just how easy it is to do this. Let's do this. Alright guys, so the way we're going to be removing these grout lines is by using a multi-tool. So many people still till now don't know that you can use a multi-tool to remove the grout lines. They have a blade specifically designed for it. It's a grout removal blade, and that's what I've got right here. I've got a brand new set of attachments ready to go. The old one has had its time. It's done a lot of hard work, and as you can tell here, this here is the blade that we actually use, which is the grout removal tool. So this one here, most of the coatings actually disappeared, so that's the reason why I've got a brand new set ready to go. Traditionally, most people would use an angle grinder and cut through these grout lines. Now that's still a very good way to do it. The problem with it is, number one, it makes a lot of mess. So anytime I'm working outdoors, I might use the grinder, put a diamond blade on that, and you're ready to go. The other problem is most people now are installing tiles with a very narrow gap with their grout lines. So usually between 1 and 3 mil, especially when it's on the walls, as we have here. So over here we've got 1 to 3 mil spacing on the walls, and that's the reason we want to get something nice and thin in there. You can use a handheld tool just like this one here. It's pretty labor intensive. It's got a diamond coating on top. If you really wanted to save some money and you only had a small area to remove, you could use one of these. Simply put that in the grout line, work it back and forward, and that'll get out your grout for you. But like I said, I'm going to be using a multi-tool. It's so much handier using a multi-tool. Every day I'm finding better ways of doing things, and the multi-tool is the absolute best way for working indoors and removing grout. So anyway guys, I'm going to change the blade onto this one here. I'm going to show you guys just how easy it is to do all this. Alright guys, so in the kit came two different blades. We've got a 1/8 and a 1/16. The easiest way to know which size you need, if you just get the blade and run it up along the grout line, it's a bit hard to tell, but this one here is actually a little bit too big. It doesn't slot in the grout line, and it also hits the tile. So we want to make sure we don't use this, otherwise we'll damage your tiles. I've got here the 1/16 that came in the kit, and this one here fits perfectly in that grout line. I'll show you guys just how easy it is to be able to tell. So if we have a look here, once this decides to focus, you can see there the damage section. I can slot this blade straight into that grout line, and that rolls in that groove nice and easy without damaging the tile. So that's what I'm going to be using to do this job. So all you have to do is just slot that straight in the groove, press the trigger, and then you can run that all the way down. I'm going to show you guys a bit of a close-up so that you guys can see exactly what's going on, and then I'm going to run through and I'm going to do the whole bathroom. And that's it. That's all the effort that we need. I'll show you guys what that looks like. So you can see there the section that I've just cut out, and that is just how easy it is to remove all this grout, guys. So what I'm going to do is, I've got this whole bathroom still to go, so I'm going to go about head height, so probably around up here. Going to run through, cut all this grout out, and I'll show you guys the finished product. So you can see we've got some sections where it's going in nice and deep, because that's obviously very loose material. Over here, that material, is a little bit solid, so it's perfect. I'm going to leave it as is. Simple reason for that is because I'm re-grouting it in the same color. If I did need to remove this material, I could spend a little bit more time on this section here. And you could remove that excess material just like that. So once we're done, guys, this is what it looks like. You can see we've got some light sections and some dark sections all the way around. The reason for that is because some sections needed to go down a bit further than others. So you can see there, this section here, we went down pretty deep. This section here, we didn't need to go down as deep. I'm not too concerned because we're going to be regrouting this in the same color. If you are going to be changing colors, well then it's up to you guys whether you want to go down a bit further. But this here is sufficient for me. So all the way around has been removed. Got nice chalk left over all over the ground. So the next thing to do is to simply get a stiff brush, and we want to clean out that whole area, wipe down the ground, and then we're ready to get regrouting. So to mix your grout is very, very easy. What we've got here is a Dunlop brand. This one is really easy to mix and easy to work with. I'm just going to be using a little scraper to mix it all together. And it doesn't require much water at all. So that should do it for about now. And like I said, it doesn't take much water to mix this through, so don't overdo it. You'll see there, it just mixes straight through. So try and get all those lumpy sections out first and foremost. You want to keep mixing this until it's almost a toothpaste consistency. It's very, very easy to know once you've got this right. So that's exactly what we need. What we're going to be using is a sponge float or a rubber float. And what we've got here is a very cheap one. This one is probably about $5 to $10. Does the job perfect, and it's very easy to be able to keep and clean and use for next time. So when it comes time to apply the grout, the only thing that you need to really be aware of is the direction that you put the material in. You just want to make sure that you're not going with the grout line, you're not going against the grout line, you want to go on a diagonal angle. So always sweeping that across on a diagonal angle. That'll allow you to push that material straight into the grout line, give you the best finish, and hopefully you won't have to do this for a long time. So anyway, like I said, get a bit of that material on your float, and then you want to just rub that across, straight across like that. So you can see there with that sweeping motion, it leaves it perfect straight in that hole. If I wanted to go down with the grain, you can see there, hopefully that you guys can see, it's got little air bubbles all through there. So we just want to make sure that we always go diagonal. So just working your way all the way around. We're not too concerned with the finish right now. I'll show you guys how we finish this off in a second. Pick up any of that excess material, and then we'll use it on the next section. If you're working in a large area, just make sure that you don't apply too much grout in the area, because this does tend to dry very, very quickly. And what we need to do is, once we finish off this wall here, we need to actually sponge it off. So by using the sponge, we're going to clean up the whole area, take off any of that excess, and that'll actually fix up all these little imperfections that you can see. That's why I said don't be too concerned with your finish at the moment. The only thing we're looking at now is just filling in those grout lines. Now the next thing we need to do, guys, is using a sponge and some clean water. We're just going to get this sponge nice and damp, rinse off any of that excess, and then we're going to clean this area off. Now what we're going to be doing here is cleaning off any of this excess, pretty much anywhere where you can see that little haze has started to appear. We want to clean that off, and then that way we can actually perfect all these grout lines. So I'll show you guys what I mean. You run the sponge straight over and you can see that makes it perfect. So just run that all the way around, cleaning that whole area off, back in the same direction as before. So we want to make sure we're not going straight across the grain and we're not going in with it. We want to go just diagonally across. That way we're not taking any excess material out or any more material that we need to. And just keep that sponge clean. So once we've got that cleaned up, the next thing we have to do is let this dry off, wait for the haze to reappear. We'll clean it off one more time. You might have to do this 2-3 times. In the meantime, what we're going to do is replace the water and we're going to get some clean water again. And once that's done, guys, this is the finished product. Nice and clean, no more dirty grout lines, clean all the way around. Can't even tell where it used to be. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed the video. We'll just let this set for about 24 hours before it dries off. If there's anything else you guys want to learn how to do in or around your house, put it in the comment section below. As always, like, comment and subscribe. Until next time, I'm Bill. Thanks for watching. Billshowto.